Did you know that with just 6 simple tips, you can easily pick out sweet, juicy pineapples without ever having to cut them open? Many people think choosing a good pineapple is just a matter of luck. But in fact, there are some clear signs that can help you spot the perfect one. If you're a fan of this tropical fruit, don't miss these easy but incredibly effective tips. They'll help you enjoy pineapples at their peak flavor and aroma, all while saving you a good amount of time. The best part? Even beginners can become pineapple picking pros in just a few seconds. Ready to get started? Let's dive in. The first method. When choosing a pineapple, don't just focus on its size. Start by looking at the color of the skin. This is a key factor in telling whether the pineapple is ripe and flavorful. I've added subtitles in multiple languages, so feel free to choose your preferred language. Typically, a ripe, sweet pineapple will have skin that's yellow with a hint of green, similar to the color of young leaves. The edges of the pineapple should have a slight green tint and look fresh and natural. That's a sign the fruit still has enough moisture, with crisp flesh and a well-balanced sweetness. On the other hand, if you prefer a mildly tart flavor and a refreshing taste, go for pineapples with greener skin. These tend to have a firmer, crunchier texture and a slightly sour note. Great for eating fresh or using in dishes that call for pineapple. In fact, it usually takes a pineapple about 4 to 5 days to turn from green to yellow and begin releasing its fragrance. So if you're buying a pineapple to let it ripen at home, one that's still a bit green might be the ideal choice. However, be cautious with pineapples that have dark skin or have turned deep yellow-orange. That's a sign the fruit has been sitting too long. These often lose a lot of moisture, may become mushy, start to ferment, or even spoil inside. If you notice a sharp sour smell or an off taste, it's best not to buy it. The second thing to pay attention to when choosing a pineapple is the eyes on the skin. The shape and arrangement of these eyes can tell you a lot about the quality of the fruit inside. Pineapples that are evenly ripe and of good quality usually have large, well-defined eyes that are evenly spaced across the surface. When you touch them with your fingertips, you'll feel a slight indentation and a noticeable three-dimensional texture. This is a good sign that the fruit underneath has thick, juicy flesh. In contrast, pineapples with small, tightly packed eyes that lie almost flat against the skin are often underdeveloped. The flesh inside tends to be thin, close to the skin, and holds less juice. When eaten, you're more likely to bite into a tough core, and the flavor is often bland and less enjoyable. The third thing to look at when choosing a pineapple is its overall shape. A high-quality pineapple usually has a uniform cylindrical shape, with a round, even body from top to bottom, and a consistent thickness throughout. This balanced shape is a good indication that the fruit developed evenly, with a full core and evenly ripened, flavorful flesh. On the other hand, avoid pineapples that have an irregular shape, such as one side being noticeably swollen or the top/stem area appearing pinched or too narrow. These kinds of deformities are often the result of poor growing conditions, which can cause the flesh inside to be fibrous, tough, or dry, with less juice. The flavor and texture of such pineapples are usually not up to standard.
The fourth thing you should pay attention to when choosing a pineapple is the stem and the base of the fruit. Here's a small but useful tip. Go for pineapples with a small, slender stem. A smaller stem usually indicates a smaller core, which tends to be less tough. This means the surrounding flesh is thicker, softer, and easier to eat. In contrast, pineapples with large, thick stems like a column often have a big, fibrous core, leaving less edible fruit and a weaker, less flavorful taste. Aside from size, the color and freshness of the stem are also important indicators. A fresh, ripe pineapple will have a stem that's emerald green, soft, and slightly springy when gently pressed. If the stem has turned yellow, looks dry, cracked, shriveled, or gives off a faint moldy smell, It's a sign the fruit has been sitting too long and has lost moisture and nutrients. In such cases, the flesh inside may have already started to spoil, even if the outside still looks fine. Pineapples like this should be avoided, as the quality is low and they may already be going bad on the inside. Have you tried this yet? Let me know in the comments. The fifth thing you shouldn't overlook when choosing a pineapple is the crown, the cluster of leaves on top. Pineapple leaves aren't just for looks, they're actually a very important indicator of the fruit's growth and internal quality. Pineapples with long, upright, vibrant green leaves are usually the result of healthy growth, meaning the plant received enough sunlight, water, and nutrients. The root system was likely strong, allowing the fruit to absorb and store more nourishment. If you look closely, you'll notice that these crowns are full and evenly shaped, like a lively crown sitting on top. That's often a good sign that the flesh inside is plump, juicy, and rich in flavor. On the other hand, if the leaves are short, thin, drooping, or sparse, that may suggest the plant wasn't properly cared for, possibly lacking water, sunlight, or growing in poor soil. These pineapples tend to be underdeveloped, with thinner flesh, less juice, a weaker taste, and sometimes a slight sourness. The sixth tip is to gently press the skin of the pineapple with your hand to check for ripeness. A perfectly ripe pineapple will have a slight give, not too hard, but not too soft either. When you press it, you should feel a moderate bounce back. This is a good sign that the flesh inside is ripe, juicy, and naturally sweet. If the pineapple feels very firm with no give, it's likely still underripe and hasn't reached its ideal flavor. It may taste sour and lack sweetness. On the other hand, if the fruit feels overly soft or your finger leaves a dent, it may be overripe or starting to rot from the inside. Pineapples like that often have an off taste and aren't worth buying. Pineapple isn't just delicious, it's also good for your health. It's rich in vitamin C, digestion-supporting enzymes, and antioxidants. So, choosing a good pineapple not only helps you enjoy the best flavor, but also supports your well-being naturally. In fact, pineapples come in many varieties, with different shapes, colors, and flavors, and their prices can vary quite a bit. Knowing how to pick the right one can help you save money and make sure you're getting the best quality. Have you remembered the 6 tips for choosing a good pineapple that I just shared? If you know any other helpful tricks for picking pineapples, don't hesitate to share them in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Did you find today's video helpful? Please give it a like and subscribe to the channel to support me, and so you won't miss any future videos. Don't forget to share this video with your family or friends, so everyone can learn how to pick the freshest, most delicious pineapples. Thank you for watching and for being here with me. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you in the next video.